idols, blood, strangled things, and fornication, right? So now we know what James is insisting on. Whether that is the real James or not, we'll have to determine some other time. But I told you that in the testimony of Hippolytus about the Essenes, those he calls Sicarii Essenes, extremist Essenes, who will kill anyone they see observing the law who is not circumcised, party of the circumcision again. These extremist Essenes, whom I think are represented by the Dead Sea Scroll materials, good or bad, I'm not advocating them, I'm just telling you what I think. These extremist Essenes are willing to undergo any torture, any suffering, any threat of death, rather than eat things sacrificed to idols. Josephus only said forbidden things. But Hippolytus has things sacrificed to idols, which to my mind is more incisive. So here we go to Paul. Let's finish up with Paul, Corinthians 8. 1 Corinthians 8. You have to sort of juggle all these things in your hand. Now, about things sacrificed to idols. Shall we agree that they're all talking about the same thing now? Can anyone not agree to that? Now we're going to get Paul's view of it, which is, in my view, as you know, I always think this, and I don't make any bones. I apologize on the one hand, but don't make any apologies on the other for thinking that. We know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge. Gnosis, actually, in Greek. And it is gnosis here. But, you know, knowledge puffs up. These people with all this knowledge who are saying all these things, they're all puffed up with themselves. Or immediately, he shows no respect for people who are demanding these things. And we know who's demanding these things now. The extremist Essenes, the James Party, and so on. The leaders. But love builds up. Where's their love? Yeah, I don't agree. Where's your love? You know, love, it builds up. The building imagery is very important in Paul, as it is in the Habakkuk commentary, in the condemnation of the spouter of lying, who built a community on lying, they say. Paul loves the building imagery. He starts with building imagery in the beginning of 1 Corinthians, about a building built by God, of which he is the architect, he says. But if anyone thinks he knows anyone, here's his Greek ode usage of, I said it last time, strophe, antistrophe, and epod. See, he started off with knowing, and know that we all have knowledge, but if anyone thinks he knows anything, has not known anything, as he ought to know it, there's the antistrophe. But if anyone loves God, he is known by him, there's the epod. Or if you like, in logical terms, it's thesis, antithesis, synthesis. This is how Paul argues all the time. It's Greek rhetorical argument. He's very well trained in Greek rhetoric. He's been to the schools. He's had Socratic, sophistic teachers, and he knows the Greek ode. It's not Hebrew argument here. It's very impressive. That's why people are like overwhelmed by it and have been for 20 centuries. Okay, so he plays with that word "know" until your head is spinning, and he finally ends up where he wants to go. Where does he want to go? And is not, and therefore these people are not known by God. These big shots who have all this knowledge, who insist on these things, they're not known by God. What was the Damascus document dedicated to? The knowers of righteousness. Those who know righteousness and understand the works of God. They're nothing, these people. Don't listen to them. That's what he's basically saying beneath the lines. And so, but you know, you have to be neutral towards Paul and not love him to begin with in order to begin to see that. If you love Paul, well, you're just carried away by the splendor of his use of language. So now let's get to the meat here. Then let's see. Come on, line 4 again. Eating things sacrificed to idols. Let's get it. We know. Here's the know again. Picks it up again. Even in English, you see it. Then idols nothing in the world. Well, they didn't think that. And idols nothing in the world. It doesn't exist. These people are making issues about nothing. Right off the bat, he's just like, he's not even willing to observe even the minimal Jamesian requirements. He's not even willing to obey the leadership in Jerusalem on one iota of anything. Nor is Jesus here. Because as Mark says, he did this making all meats or foods clean. And that's what the whole toilet bowl imagery is about. And that's what Paul is going to conclude here too. Let's see how he does it. Okay. Again, he quotes, there is no God except the one. There is no God but Allah. There is no God except the one. I guess it's I don't know, it's more like Islam. La ilaha illa Allah, but anyway. For even though there are those called gods in heavens and earth and many gods and lords, yet there is only one God, the Father of whom all things speak, and we for him, and the one Lord Jesus Christ, by whom all things, and we by him. Now that we're in the splendor of his vocabulary, I'm not saying it isn't splendid, captivating. It is. But let's get to what the point is after he finishes that soliloquy. But this knowledge, you see, back to the knowledge thing that these big shots have, is not in all. But some, there's the sum from James, that's a leitmotif. Some is always a loaded word. It's the Jerusalem church. The sum is always the Jerusalem church. Same in Acts 15. Some came down from Jerusalem. Some from James came. But you see, some, and now we get the sarcasm, I'm putting it in because I know it's there. Some, being conscious of the idol, these people, you see, that's their problem in their minds. They got a psychological problem. Eat as of a thing sacrificed to an idol. Here's the strophe, antistrophe again. Conscious of the idol, eat as sacrificed to an idol, even until now. And their conscience being weak is defiled. You see, it's all about defiling. And this ends all the evil things proceed from within the man and defile the man. Their conscience is defiled. Conscience is a euphemism in Paul for what? Observing the law. Conscience is a euphemism for observing the law. So these people eat. They're conscious of it. They got a mental problem. And they're weak. They're weaklings. Why? Because they depend upon the law of Moses. Now I don't say he's wrong now. I'm just saying he's nasty. I'm not saying he's wrong. He's not nice. You say, well, why should we be nice? We're fighting God's battles here. Okay. But we're supposed to love our enemies and respect our leadership, supposedly. Anyway, so they're defiling. But look here, so we know what he's talking about here. But look, meat, and again that's it, we're from Mark. He said this, declaring all meat clean. Food or meat, it's the same word here. Does not commend us to